Hey guys, Paul Shirey, JoBlo.com. We just got out of the Fox
And I'm
presentation.
Sean Wist.
Here with Sean Wist, and we are going to talk everything we saw at the Fox panel. We're going to skim through a few things just because, well, you're probably just not that interested.
You want to hear about the more important stuff.
Exactly. There were a couple animated things they had. There was a trailer and a brief chat about Captain Underpants. So if you're into that, there was also Ferdinand with John Cena. And then also Snatch, the new comedy with Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn. Again, you know, these are just fairly basic. If you know you're going to see these, whether at this point,
Yeah,
I'm not going to convince you one way or the other at this point. So
it's Amy Schumer.
There it is. The first really interesting thing we did see was the first trailer for The Mountain Between Us, starring Idris Elba and Kate Winslet. Which
Love
is
of my life.
Love of Sean's life.
That's it. The end.
Basically a survival story set in, well, the mountainous region of somewhere. Looks like the Rockies, somewhere in that area. But
they take a plane. The plane crashes, and of course they depend on each other to survive. Classic survival story. Maybe a little bit of a romantic edge, perhaps. It certainly seems that way.
Yeah. And they're, it's kind of a tale of two strangers that are, they meet and they're put in this circumstance together, and basically how they survive it, not just physically but mentally and everything else. So it looks good.
Maybe
looks like
sexually. Because if I was with Idris Elba, I'd be like, hey, let me find out.
But yeah, it looks like a good showcase for their talent. I'm sure, if anything, you're going to get some great performances out of them for that.
Exactly.
We also got a look at Red Sparrow, which is the new team up with director Francis Lawrence and Jennifer Lawrence.
The Lawrences.
Of the Hunger Games franchise. Basically looks a lot like La Femme Nikita or Point of No Return, which is a remake of La Femme Nikita.
Exactly. There wasn't any action in what we saw. Anything really interesting whatsoever. But a ballet dancer becomes a seductress and a killer. That's the premise.
Like, she's basically like a Russian spy thriller kind of thing. It's light on action. This is most definitely not Atomic Blonde. So,
but it is in production as well. So who knows when a final trailer hits?
It also co-stars Joel Egerton. So who's to say? I'm sure once we see some more, we'll get a better feel for what it is. We also got another look at War for the Planet of the Apes. They showed a quick clip. Say that 20 times fast.
Too many times.
Same thing that I saw at the Fox presentation last year, which is basically the introduction of Bad Ape, which is the new chimp character played by Steve Zahn.
And I, coming from someone who hasn't seen that footage before, I found it really compelling, actually. And I'm a pretty lukewarm fan of the Apes movies, but I was really drawn into this single scene.
Yeah, Zahn's portrayal. Steve Zahn is great in general, but he just looks like he's gonna bring something special to that character. The movie just looks, really dark and kind of
epic war action. They showed the trailer, which is out now at the end of it, and it looks like Woody and Caesar are gonna get into a fight, and it looks awesome.
Woody versus Caesar.
I'm going for Woody. Always bet on Woody.
Always bet on Woody. We got the first look at the trailer for Kingsman: The Golden Circle as well, which looks, to me, phenomenal. I just think it looks great. I'm a huge fan of the first one, and this has just got. It hits all the same beats, but it definitely adds a new layer to it. Takes it in another direction.
Yeah, you get to see the Statesman, of course, which is the American equivalent of the Kingsman. Led by Jeff Bridges and Channing Tatum. Looks like he's having a great time in this role.
He's basically like a Southern James Bond kind of guy. So it's pretty funny, and he's kind of hamming it up. And Channing, he's generally he's a funny guy. We never thought that he would be funny.
Exactly.
Back when he was in G.I. Joe. Now.
Exactly, and there's one agent who has a laser lasso, which it's actually as ridiculous and awesome as it sounds, and he cuts some dude in half, and it's fucking cool. Awesome.
We also have Colin Firth back.
Definitely.
Makes an appearance, more than an appearance. It looks like he's just basically back in action.
Yeah, he's back. He comes back with the patch. I had to do this so you know what I'm talking about. But he gets some glasses, with one shaded lens. And it's one of those scenarios where, again, I don't think anyone cares that he's back or the reasoning behind it. He did such a great job in the first
happy to have
movie.
Him back. We'll take it.
Whatever.
We'll take it. It's good.
We'll take it.
But yeah, it looks great. I'm super excited. There's a little part at the very end where Channing Tatum's character and Eggsy are standing over some just massive destruction or something they just did, and Eggsy's like, "Well, that's very American." And they just take for a beat, and Channing Tatum just goes, "Fuck yeah!" and just walks off. It was really funny.
It works really well. It's going to be cool.
It looks good. Next up from there, we got a new look tease at Murder on the Orient Express, which looks very intriguing, very cool.
They showed very little. But there was one kind of like this long tracking shot through one of the cars where they introduced the characters by title card and stuff. So like, the Daisy Ridley was in there.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Johnny Depp plays a character.
Yeah, it's but it looks good. Kenneth Branagh, obviously he's very passionate about what he's making and trying to bring this back to life.
And it has a very classy look to it. And he's rocking an awesome mustache as Sparrow.
It's a great mustache. And there's a part where he's standing on the train. He's looking very intense, and he's like, "I'm like the world's greatest detective."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You believe it.
I despite like knowing how it ends and stuff like that, like I'm really excited for like a good whodunit, a good murder mystery.
Yeah, I think it looks good. The next one we saw was Alien Covenant. We got a
new look,
really long extended look at a new trailer for it, and this one focuses more on David's journey, who we haven't seen since Prometheus. And the last trailer focused on the crew of the Covenant. This one feels much more about David.
The Prometheus ties are much more evident, and the way it starts is it looks to take place like right after Prometheus when they finally reach the planet where the engineers came from.
Yeah.
And his ship is kind of docking with this other larger ship that looks like a scorpion tail. It's probably bigger than that, but there's like a civilization gathers below him, and David stands out and he drops all those
little canisters
with the black goo.
And it basically decimates this entire
like just
population.
genocide,
and you can see, like in his face, David is conflicted about what he's doing.
Why is he doing it? And you don't see Shaw from Prometheus in there, even though we know she has some sort of role in the film. So what did they decide on their journey to this planet?
Yeah, it was definitely intriguing, and it's definitely like, wow, yes, this is great. And it felt like vengeance, like what he was doing. It was like vengeance against the engineers.
Which is curious because like he wasn't not that he was like keen on
before.
on the humans, like he appreciated it, but he was willing to kill humans and stuff like that. So what happened?
What happened?
Yeah,
it definitely brings up a lot of
mystery,
questions. And then we also see the dark-haired Walter android, who seems to be going through the same journey that David did in Prometheus, where he's starting to kind of turn against everybody,
almost like appreciate what the engineers have done, and
kind of becoming like this maniacal, twisted android. Don't bring androids into space.
This is bad news.
One.
Don't do it.
What do they really do?
If you're thinking about it and you're watching this video, just don't.
They're bad.
It's bad. But of course, we got to see some gory action too. There was the alien you kind of saw at the end of Prometheus, the little white one with the pointy head, and then we saw another shot of the classic xenomorph.
Yeah,
looking
really good,
fucking awesome.
Really good close up. So I mean, if you're hungry for xenomorphs, aliens, blood, gore, and more alien action, without question, I really feel like Covenant's going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So the last thing we saw for Fox was The Greatest Showman. Hugh Jackman came out on stage. He was very happy and cool, and he's just a great guy, nicest guy in Hollywood.
Super passionate about everything, and it's hard not to fall in love with that fucking guy.
He came out and he basically talked Greatest Showman, and his excitement for it, and then they showed a trailer. And it looks good. It looks like a very nice, sprawling, kind of epic
classy
musical
inspirational musical about P.T. Barnum and him starting show business. There's a nice little quip in the trailer. He's like, he says show business, and he's like, what's that? And he's like, I just made it up.
He's like, I just made it up.
But
yeah, it really does look good, and I think it's one of those ones that's going to be pulling at the heartstrings. And I think going for that Christmas release is probably going to be a really smart bet for that one.
Absolutely.
So, but it looks good. I mean, Hugh Jackman.
It's Hugh Jackman. Come on.
What can you do? So that's it for the Fox panel. For those hoping for some X-Men or Deadpool news, unfortunately there was none. No mention at all of those franchises, but rest easy. They are all in development or in production and coming your way regardless. So we've got a few more things coming to you guys from CinemaCon, so stay tuned, and thanks for joining us. Do more Apes. Was there anything else? Oh no, Greatest Showman. That's the last one.
You're still here. It's over. Go home. You expecting Sam Jackson show up with an eye patch and a saucy little leather number? Go.